Guys, Bitcoin right now is at a critical level, and I want to break down for you what I'm seeing right here, because we could be looking at a potential swing all the way to the top of this range with where we are right now. And I want to break this down for you because I really don't think that people are expecting this right now. You know, one of the key things I've been saying on this channel for quite some time is that people just lose concentration. They stop paying attention to the market when the market starts ranging sideways. But that is exactly, and I say this all the time, shout out to those of you who've been watching this channel for a long time, you're going to know all about what I'm talking about here, is that this is where the future millionaires are made. It's where the people who are paying attention right now keep paying attention because they are ready for the next moves. And what I want to draw your attention to here in this video is this green box that I had drawn for quite a lot of time now on this chart, from 47.4 all the way up to $48,000. This is currently a resistance range which has been keeping Bitcoin suppressed for quite a lot of time now. I mean, if we measure this is like a 7-day range where Bitcoin has been doing absolutely nothing. And it has been, you know, just really suffering from this range. And we are just challenging this range at the moment right now. But I do have to highlight that there's quite a bit of resistance mounting up in this area right now. This is something that I showed you guys in the last video. Shout out to those of you, once again, who are subscribed, hitting up that like button, because you're going to know all about this stuff right here on this chart, that there is this Ichimoku resistance that we can expect Bitcoin to encounter, which can be problematic. And there's also EMA resistance right here in the 4-hour time frame. We are battling it right now, and again, previously within this trend, it has resulted in some quite large sell-offs, right? I mean, if we measure this from the top down to the very bottom, this was a 6% or $3,000 drop. So you know, we are seeing some quite large sell-offs coming out of this EMA ribbon, and right now we're challenging it again. And here's the thing, is that because this is an area of resistance, you know, if we are able to break it, we could be looking at ranging higher. And actually, if we take a look at what's happened generally when the market bounces off this level or pushes through this level, we're generally actually getting some pretty nice swings up. So take a look at this, right? When the market first drops down to this area right here, we see a really nice pump up for Bitcoin. And again, if we just measure this from our low to our high right here, this was a 10% or 4.8k pump. So quite a nice range right there. Again, we did it right on this occasion as well. We got quite a nice pump off this area as well. A similar number, about 8.3% or $4,000 pump. The next time it didn't quite work out as well. We did manage to push through from underneath above this level, but it didn't work out and the market ended up crashing back down. On this occasion, we didn't break the resistance, but on the next occasion, we broke through it and back tested the area, and then we actually set a new local high for the trend, and this was our swing failure pattern that I was talking to you guys in the previous video. And so we're seeing here that, you know, out of, you know, what is this, 1, 2, 3 kind of situations, we've only had one little fake out right here. And I think the fact that Bitcoin has been suppressed under this level for a little bit of time now does potentially indicate to me that if we do manage to get a breakout above this box, we could be looking at quite a nice follow through all the way to the top of this $50,000 range. And of course, that would be quite exciting because it means that we are, you know, potentially just kind of flirting with bullish breakouts, which would be really, really nice. I mean, it is a new year. People are back trading now. I think that's why we're seeing an increase in volatility right now in this market. And so that could work out very, very well. But of course, the flip side to that is that none of this really matters at all until we actually break this area of resistance, right? And there is a fair bit of resistance. I've shown you guys the EMA resistance on the 4-hour time frame. There's also EMA resistance on the 1-day time frame as well, which does potentially make this quite problematic. I mean, this EMA resistance on the 1-day is literally right in the middle of the whole range. So that is going to make it difficult. And yeah, I mean, this is not going to be the easiest area for Bitcoin to break ever. You know, the other thing is, if we do manage to rise up to the very top, I mean, just because we've been in this bearish trend now for I mean, what is this? If we measure this to our current day of trading, it's been a 55-day mini bear market. I mean, that is fairly long for the market to be trending in such a shit area. And so that, you know, as a result of that, we are now seeing a, you know, negative kind of resistance cloud on this Ichimoku cloud indicator right here. So this is, again, something that could potentially offer a little bit of a problem for Bitcoin right here. You know, like personally, like I said, I'm not super worried about that because I have started to dabble in some of these altcoins. I told you guys about how VPAD was performing amazingly well. And guys, I did also warn you about 𝗧𝗙𝗏. They are launching literally tomorrow. Shout out to those of you who did take advantage of the early tokens for 𝗧𝗏. You're getting them at effectively what is the best price possible before the launch. You know, for people who are on Bybit holding their the Bybit token, that opportunity is now gone. But if you still want to buy 𝗧𝗏 token, and guys, there is a huge rush for this, so don't rush into it. I mean, this thing can pump to shit and then dump to shit as well. Like, it really can be very, very dangerous. But, you know, if you are interested in it, the best exchange to buy it on, and one of only a few, is Bybit. And so check it out. They're actually working very closely with Bybit because 𝗓𝗏 is a huge project. And, you know, I was telling you guys primarily that I'm expecting it to perform like 𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗏 right here on the 1 hour time frame. If you take a look at how 𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗏 was performing, I mean, it just had absolutely ridiculous, explosive price action coming off its launch. Just look at this right here. And my main point for 𝗓𝗏 right now is that it's got all the same fundamental reasons to pump up that 𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗏 has, and now everyone knows how it's going to perform, right? So to me, that's super, super bullish. I was telling you guys how I was expecting the coin to rise up when it was trading in this range, and now it's more than double that price level. And of course, I am expecting something similar for 𝗓𝗏. So guys, if you want to get in, Bybit is the place to be. This is where you can buy this token, and it is, of course, the only place that I trade on. So if you want to jump in on that, you can do so by following the link in the description down below to sign up to Bybit and yeah, basically be able to buy the token there. And of course, it is my favorite exchange, so definitely check that out. But moving us back to the market right here, I mean, that's just me saying like why I'm not so worried about this, because it's always nice to be able to make money when the market is being so boring like this. And, you know, this is the thing, is that, you know, Bitcoin also has a lot of hype, don't get me wrong, but it's not a new asset, right? It doesn't have that flair, that sexiness of being new to the market. And I think that's why these altcoins are popping off so well, of course, when you consider that there's just so much coordinated hype in the space as well. You know, that's one of the reasons that I am quite enthusiastic about these projects right now. You know, I mean, broadly speaking, I don't care about any altcoin in particular at all, unless it's Bitcoin, which is not an altcoin. But of course, if these things can make me money, you guys know that I'm very, very willing to buy them anyway. So that's the thing, is yeah, this area is resistance. We do have resistance up ahead, so it's still definitely not a bullish picture in my opinion. I mean, you know, for the short term, it's definitely not bullish. Long term, of course, I still think that we're going to break all of these resistance areas and rally up to brand new all-time highs like $80,000, as you guys saw in the last video. Again, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all of this content, because it's so important to be able to watch it quickly when it's released, and being subscribed will tell the algorithm that you want to see that stuff. And that's the thing about this resistance area right now, is we do need to break it in order to tap into a slightly less bearish situation, but there's still going to be a lot of resistance right here in the middle of this range, and then at the very top of this range. I think this is where the resistance will really start to mount up and become even stronger and dangerous for Bitcoin, even more dangerous. But of course, again, I just want to remind you guys right now, because it has been you know, a good while since I've spoken about this, that yeah, Bitcoin doesn't have, in my opinion, a whole lot of resistance if we manage to clear 54 until we rise up to the 60k range, and then this box that I had drawn for you all previously will come into play again. And if we take a look at this, let me just extend this out. This box would, it's quite a narrow box, but it is another resistance zone, which I'm looking at being kind of between $59,500 and $60,500, a $1,000 range roughly, where you can see quite a lot of support hits and quite a lot of resistance hits. And so this would kind of be the next, you know, I think if Bitcoin manages to rise above this resistance, we'd probably just pump straight up to this one. Similar for this, I think if we rise up above this resistance, I think it should be fairly easy for Bitcoin to rise up to the next area, even though there is resistance in between. But of course, I mean, this is a resistance area, so naturally this is not where you want to be bullish. And you know, to play on that perspective, because you guys know the deal with this channel, guys, I'm going to tell you guys about the good and the bad, and it doesn't matter what I want to happen with my investments. That's one thing. I have my desires, and that's completely fine, but I have to push them to the side and operate a very unbiased, objective mindset in this market until, of course, the final moment where I enter a trade, and then I'm becoming 100% biased and I'm becoming 100% subjective with my analysis. But you know, up until that point, you need to be as neutral as possible. And this is the thing, is that right here there is resistance, and if we do manage to drop, we are looking at support at this 45.8k level. We've seen a lot of support hits off this level, and that's concerning to me. I mean, if I thicken this line a little bit so we can see it clearer on a more zoomed out chart, I mean, in my opinion, this is just not a very strong area of support. I mean, in terms of the levels that we've, in terms of the, you know, times that we've interacted with this level before, we never interacted with it before February of 2021. And even at that point, we had, I mean, you can call this a support hit, but I mean, the support dropped all the way down to like 43. So it wasn't very reliable as support. Basically, nothing happened right here. We did get a small bounce, and yeah, just some consolidation around this area. But really, I mean, it's just not a very good area of support in my opinion. You know, if we trace this area back, and so to me, like, I have to wonder how many more times this area can offer support to Bitcoin, because I'm not optimistic about it. You know, I really do think that, especially now that we've had that New Year's break and everyone's back on their trading screens, you know, I mean, if we're going to break any key levels, it's probably going to be right now, whether that means to the upside or to the downside. I think that if this does turn into a rejection, that yeah, you should kind of brace yourselves for a little bit of a break of this level if it does happen. And if it does happen, I'd simply be looking at falling down to the next areas of support. And so to me, that would be 44,000, or ideally 42,000. I think would be a beautiful, beautiful correction. You know, potentially dropping all the way down here, maybe even a swing failure pattern. So we drop just a touch lower, perhaps down to 41.5 or even 41, and then bam, we just form a double bottom and start rallying back up. And that is firmly what I think is going to happen in this market right now. If we end up dropping down, I definitely do not expect that we're going to be trading into the $30,000 range. One thing that does concern me a little bit right now is, and I do want to put this on your radar because it's on mine, is that I feel like a lot of people are bearish right now, talking about how a dump is almost a given. And that is again why I just wanted to highlight this to you guys, that we are actually flirting with a breakout right now. So even though we are at resistance, and again, this is typically where it pays to be bearish, you know, it is also worth noting that above this area of resistance, there isn't much more resistance up ahead for the next few $1,000s. I mean, from kind of 48,000 all the way up to 51,000, that's a $3,000 gap. You know, I mean, it's quite large actually. What is the percentage move, right, from the breakout point to the bottom of the resistance zone? And realistically, we might probably pump up to a little bit higher than that. That's an 8% gap. So definitely very, very tradable. It's not the safest thing in the world. It's not like I'm going to trade that at all, but it is something to keep in mind, because there is some new resistance we can be meeting up there. And then, you know, I mean, hopefully we manage to break it and we resume the bull market. But of course, that is something that remains to be seen. So if you want to see my analysis on that, you guys already know the deal. You got to hit that subscribe button, hit up the likes if you want to be able to keep on watching these videos, of course, when they are published, because it is so important. Guys, I have to get running here, but I want to remind you all once again that this is the only exchange that I trade on. It is my favorite exchange, and 𝗪𝗪 launches here tomorrow. So those of you who took action, you've already gotten it, you know, with your Bybit tokens. But if you haven't quite been able to take advantage of it, it does start trading tomorrow. And if you want to get ready for it, if you think that it could be interesting to trade, I will definitely putting out a lot of analysis on it, telling you guys what I think, whether I think it's going to be pumping or dumping or whatever I'm seeing on the chart. I'll just tell it to you as objectively as I always do. But if you want to jump in on some of that action, I think it's going to be very fun. Then Bybit is on screen right here, and when you use that link in the description, you are going to get a bonus, so you get free money for it. And of course, if you want to be able to watch me trading in real time, then click on the first link in the description down below. That's going to take you into my free Telegram channel, where I give you even more analysis on these financial markets. And then click on the @4flies button at the bottom of any post inside of 4flies Gold, and then send message to ask me how to join 4flies VIP, and we will give you all of that information. I really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.